Hello, and welcome to the lore of Braunhaven. Today we're going to be talking about the Ahsesha Jungle and the Nulihili Serpent Kingdoms in the southeast corner of the Eastern Plains. So, long before the Celestial Palace collided with the Prime Plane in the event known as the Reckoning, the Reckoning being really the beginning of recorded history in the known world. There was the Ahsesha Jungle. Probably not called that at that time. It probably didn't really have much of a name. But it once stretched all the way north as far as Torryford Ruins and as far west as Hannington. But the Reckoning, like so many other places in the known world, caused massive upheaval and destruction. The climate changed. Uh, there was rampant volcanism, flooding, uh, complete and total destruction across the known world in the Prime Plane. Before the Reckoning, there was things going on. There was life on the world. Nobody really knows who created the snake people, but there they were. And they had their own empire that was based in what is now the Ahsesha Jungle. Of course, the Reckoning caused the jungle to shrink back, and the Eastern Plains became mostly desolate. They are nothing but rolling lands of scrubby grass and fairly dry. The winters can be cold and brutal, but they're not overly wet. Rain uh, in the Eastern Plains is not a common occurrence. Even in the spring and fall, you might get one or two heavy rains per month during the spring and fall months. But the summer can be very warm. Not, I wouldn't say hot, but it's very warm. While the winters can be very cold. But in the southeastern portion, at where the Eastern Plains starts to meet the desert, is where the Ahsesha Jungle actually, to this day, thrives. It is hot, humid. The Kars River splits in the southern hills, about 24 to 30 miles south of Buckley's Ferry, and splits, creating the Russian Gulf, and as well as feeding the Ahsesha Jungle to the east. This is the remnants of the Serpent Kingdoms, the Snake People. For the most part, all that is left of the Serpent Kingdoms are three, I guess you could call them cities. They're bigger than towns, but they don't operate much in the way that, or in the similar manner as cities that you would think of. They don't have trade. Perhaps they have some trade with each other or with the settlements around them, but the snake people, the serpent kingdoms, do not trade with human kingdoms. They don't trade with dwarves or elves. Nobody really knows what they've got planned out there. For their part, it is believed that the serpent kingdoms are attempting or coming up, scheming and plotting to rebuild their lost empire. They feel that the known world, or at least the Eastern Plains, is their birthright. As for how they plan to go about that, nobody knows. But the three cities that are still remaining are Tatushal, Shoazoa, and Zashulu. And of those three kingdoms, Zashulu is the largest in the southeastern corner of the jungle. there are there are ruins that are dotted throughout the region, And there is the Uklu Temple, which is a religious location to the Serpent Kingdoms that many of the people, or the snake people, will make pilgrimages to Uklu Temple. Now, as stated, there are a bunch of ruins throughout the jungle of, from the past Serpent Kingdom or Empire that existed. Most of the ruins that are north of the Ahsesha Jungle have been lost. They're gone, buried beneath the earth. They may be have made their way down into the mythic underworld. So it's not like they are completely lost, but they're for the most part, for the surface world, they are lost. There is, of course, Scourge Shore ruins. Scourge Shore was a pirate town. Uh, Pirates would frequently raid trade merchant ships traveling through the Russian Gulf to the Dragon Sea. That town was pretty much put down about 500 or 600 years ago, and only remains as ruins now. But the town itself kind of got hit by two sets. It was one of the few times that the snake people have actually left the jungle, and for whatever reason, the pirates of Scourge Shore drew the ire of the Nulihili Serpent Kingdoms, and the Serpent Kingdoms mounted an offensive. In addition to that, the Scourge Shore, for the most part, survived the assault, but then they were hit by the gnolls of the Rurg pack, and the Rurg gnolls came in and kind of scavenged and mopped up what was left. And so Scourge Shore Ruins basically sits as a testament to, like many other locations in the Eastern Plains, as a location that is nothing but skeletal buildings and the occasional skeleton. The Nulihili Serpent Kingdoms tend to guard the ruins, such as Mitsu or Zishil, throughout their jungle. They don't take kindly to people coming into the jungle and going through their ruins, but people do, and most of the time, these expeditions into the Ahsesha Jungle either start at Lake Inn, or they will set the town of Ashton at the north side of Hookham Lake as a jumping off point for these expeditions. Now, it should be said that many of these expeditions, probably 80% of them, never return from the Ahsesha Jungle, but the stories that do come back from the expeditions that have been successful, I guess you could say successful, either they have made it into the jungle and found ruins that they can loot, or in some cases research. Those that make it back tell that the Ahsesha Jungle is it is like it's from a time before. It is completely prehistoric. There are tales of drow elves that live on the surface of the world, in the jungles. There are, of course, tales of raids or assaults by the snake people. And what is known is that sometimes these raids that the snake people perform on these expeditions aren't necessarily to kill everyone to the last man, although that is not uncommon, but also to take these people. The assumption, of course, is that the Nulihili Serpent Kingdoms are slave traders, but nobody ever has seen snake people in the slave trade. These people just are taken and never seen again. In addition to the people, the drow and snake people of the Ahsesha Jungle, there are, of course, much more dangerous creatures that even the snake people and the drow are fearful of. And these are just simply wild animals. But the reports are of creatures of gargantuan size with terrible demeanors that roam through the jungle. What these creatures are, nobody is quite certain. Nobody of this day and age, of the modern age, circa 202, are aware of what they are. all they can all they can tell you with certainty is that they are exceptionally large, and they are not dragons, uh, but they resemble dragons. Uklu Temple is probably one of the most sought after sites, but no expedition that's gone to Uklu Temple has returned. Um, Nobody knows what goes on there. But there are legends and tales of lost magic, lost items, artifacts, vast power to be found in the Nulihili Serpent Kingdoms that really draws the attention of most of these adventuring expeditions. For their part, as stated, the Nulihili Serpent Kingdoms seem to be insular. They are staying in their jungle. Uh, they are not forming armies. They are not going out attempting to retake the Eastern Plains or interact with humans in any way. For the casual observation, it would appear that if they exist at all, that the Serpent Kingdoms want to be left alone. This may be true. There are some reports that there have been human-like serpent people that have been found in Ashton that seem to be spying on the people or the expeditions there, just general information gathering, but they haven't caused any problems until discovered. So that is the Ahsesha Jungle and the Serpent Kingdoms. We will be picking up next time talking about the Catacombs of the Renegade. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time.